the Soccer Podcast from dailyfantasylobby.com. Hey everybody, this is Christy for dailyfantasylobby.com. I've got our weekly English Premier League Daily Fantasy Soccer podcast here. Sadly, I can't be in the office with David today, but I've got the next best thing. I've got David on the line. Hi David, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi Christy, I'm good, thanks.
Lovely stuff. Now, in case you're unaware, David is the owner / CEO of dailyfantasylobby.com, and every week we discuss our selections for DraftKings for the English Premier League's fixtures for the weekend, but we're going to get to that at the end of this podcast this week. First of all, we're going to have a little chat about the state of the industry with regards to daily fantasy soccer. So, personally, I think it's I was a little disappointed to find that there were no high guarantee events this week because David and I have got the Millionaire Maker bug. You know, we've been talking so much about the DraftKings golf event, and then we've gone to soccer, and the biggest that we can find is like a 6 or a 7k guarantee event, which just simply doesn't give us the kind of potential returns that we're looking for. David, what do you make of things?
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? After the Lord Mayor show, hard to get excited about a grind when you've seen the fireworks go off in terms of the Millionaire Maker, and it wasn't just that. It's been such almost like an historic week within Daily Fantasy with the various announcements, the fundraising, and the partnership stuff, that, you know, to come and sort of, you know, see a $7,000 guaranteed tournament, it isn't exciting.
Sure.
You know, therefore I am not excited.
And when you look at the slate as well for the weekend, you know, you're looking at Villa versus Spurs, Palace versus Sunderland, Hull Southampton, Leicester West Brom, Stoke West Ham, Arsenal Burnley. That's for Saturday's fixtures. Of course, on Sunday we got some much bigger ones, but our selections are made based purely on the Saturday, so it's kind of slim pickings. It's very difficult. You've got Rory McIlroy, you've got Spieth going great guns at the moment in the Masters, and then you look at Crystal Palace versus Sunderland and Alan Pardew versus Dick Advocaat.
It's not, is it? It's just not playing it. I mean, if you want to watch Bubba uncork one, 350 round the corner at 13, or Dick Advocaat.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's they're kind of we're in different worlds here, aren't we? Which is kind of sad. Yet, what I find really interesting is there are a lot of promising sites out there. We've discovered a new one called Draft Goal. Definitely looks promising. We've already talked in great depth about Mondo Goal, who seem to be like almost 9/10 of the way there. You know, the product seems great. They're just not getting that. They're just not quite got that reach at the moment. DraftKings, conversely, has all the reach in the world, but it's not quite. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to quite be taking there. And then we've got Flip Sports, some new guys in England. We've got a smaller site like WoofBet, who are big in Scandinavia, but none of them seems to really be, you know, picking up the ball and running with it. What do you make of that, David? What are some possible reasons for that?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we've probably talked about it a little bit, maybe not on air. So let's do that.
Sure.
You know, the reasons are, in Europe, sports betting is legal, and the appetite for soccer is there. So I think if sports betting was illegal in the UK and in Europe, then I think you would see DFS Soccer become a big product, and it still might. It probably needs to be driven though by the media companies over here, and I understand that a couple of them have got plans underway. So, you know, I think we're having this discussion of depression today on the 10th of April, but I think come, you know, sort of like, you know, the end of August, the landscape, I think, is going to look a little bit different. So we need to wait and see on that. But again, you know, if they come in and they make it a sort of a low stakes, low prize money product, then it will never really get the traction that I do believe the product deserves.
So are you suggesting that DFS Soccer needs its own Millionaire Maker type event?
I really believe that. I really believe strongly it does. And I think you can see, even if you look at like Major League Baseball and what's happened this week, obviously the first week of the baseball season, and they have a ton of overlay that's been out there.
Almost
Really
obscene levels, aren't they?
obscene levels, and the overlay in the golf was crazy as well. I was looking at, we take the numbers in each night. I was just looking at the report there, which we'll probably stick on the site later on.
Sure.
And there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of overlay out there, and that overlay comes because a lot of the money's focused in the big events. I talked to some of the guys at the sites, and I think there's some really smart people running these soccer sites, and they talk about their product, how it differentiates from their competitors' product, and the nuances in the scoring system. And like, for example, like speaking to Greg, the guy who runs DraftKings, terrific product. It's done very well. Greg's like ex-poker player, really gets it. And they've got some nuanced scoring systems, so they're giving like they're giving more credibility and point scoring to guys who are actually not necessarily scoring the goals, but are maybe passing the ball a lot or just being inherently useful to their team. So I quite like that. That's all great, well done. That's great and terrific, and you've got a strong product. But you know what? Until you've got like $100,000 first prize, no one's going to play. It's like, I'm not saying nobody cares, but not enough people care. So what we're looking at here, if ever a product in daily fantasy should be networked, it should be soccer.
Yeah, I totally agree. Some of the smaller sites band together and get some real turnover going.
Absolutely, because you got to get the customer going here.
Then they all use different software. They all use different scoring systems.
Yeah, well, someone needs to raise a little bit of cash then and buy the rest of them out, and turn on to one platform. That's what the customer wants. That might not be what the entrepreneurs behind the businesses want, but I think the customer wants that.
I agree.
Customer doesn't want 17 different options of where to play with 6 customers at each venue.
There's a limit to what a small marketing team can do. Ultimately, you really need to put the money up top and then let the marketing staff do their magic, because I think of the current state of affairs, there's nothing there to really excite people into playing DFS soccer. But it's the world's most popular sport, don't forget, so there's every chance it will continue to grow. But in the UK, you can't turn on the TV, you can't go through a set of adverts in the TV without seeing really heavily budgeted sports betting ads, and simply DFS isn't going to take over from sports betting anytime soon in the UK, and so they can't get rid of sports betting because it's just too valuable to the UK economy. So perhaps soccer isn't the market, or the UK isn't the market for DFS soccer. You just never know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The UK's showing that we're not trying to replace sports betting. We're just showing it as another product in the range.
Sure.
And there have been a couple of other products, we mentioned Colossus Bets, which is like a sort of a giant parlay sort of product that came in where you could win £10 million.
Yep.
And that's proven to be very successful. So,
in spite of offering pretty poor value, which is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, terrible value.
So it's just the aspiration. This is something that fascinates me as a guy with a psychology background, because it's called base rate neglect. It's where people don't think probabilistically. They think.
I think we just lost our last listen.
They think in terms of the amount of payback. They think in terms of the potential payoff. So they don't care if they have a 1 in 10 million chance of winning $1 million. Even though that doesn't offer good value, obviously. It offers terrible value, but they love the idea of having a chance of winning $1 million. It's in terms of prize pools, is the secret just to be really top heavy?
Definitely.
It's kind of, it's definitely interesting, and it's maybe depressing, but as the market kind of matures a bit, and as the overall knowledge base improves, you would expect that people will get a bit wiser to seeking out value, but you never know. All right, so we're looking at your team here, and I have ridiculed for this. I've ridiculed you for this selection.
Rightly so.
Octogenarian Kelvin Davis in goals, the guy who started the season as Southampton. but because of loan deals and injuries, has somehow found himself in between sticks. Any reason for that?
They're playing Hull.
Fair one. Ryan Bertrand and Nathaniel Clyne, the two defenders that I actually picked in my team last week, so I'm biased towards them. Very good players. Reasons for these selections?
They're playing Hull.
Yep, good. And then in midfield, you got Jason Puncheon and Wilfried Zaha, two creative types who, it seems to me, I might be wrong because I'm no particular Palace fanboy, seems to me that they haven't quite found their niche in the Pardew era, but then with new managers coming in, it can often take that path. So what's your reasons behind Puncheon and Zaha, two Palace players?
Well, Puncheon I put in, I quite like him for his attacking sort of midfield qualities, and he was at a price point that he fitted into my sort of salary structure.
Sure.
Zaha, I was struggling. I'm not even sure he's going to play, to be honest. I will be checking the lineups on Daily Fantasy Lobby /lineups. I will be checking that when they come out an hour before the game, and probably swapping him for some other dud from some other team. But right now, Wilfried Zaha, if he does play by miracle, he is quite attacking. We're playing Sunderland, who are pretty average. There's a chance. But really, my lineup, it was based around the fact that we've got 4 Southampton players in there. Can they get a clean sheet and score 2-3 goals against Hull? If they can, I think I'll get some good points. And I'm stuck in Harry Kane and Alexis Sanchez. Don't really need too much reasoning.
No.
The slate's so poor this week. I mean, I could see Berahino scoring a goal this week against Leicester. I could see Danny Ings scoring a goal for Burnley against Arsenal. It's one of those weeks where you don't pick Harry Kane and you don't pick Sanchez. Everyone else does. They both score 2 goals each, and it's just like, why have I even bothered? Just the Masters on, I want to watch it in telly. Because, you know what? Even if I win first place in the soccer,
it's not big bucks, is it?
I've lost more money in the golf anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Amazing. And on that positive note, we'll wrap it up for this week. Be sure to swing in past dailyfantasylobby.com. Be sure also to give us a follow on Twitter. David is manning the Twitter account for the Masters, and he's been on fire. It's been hilarious. A lot of good chat going on. Some really good tips and advice. As always, it's an absolute pleasure having you listen in. And by all means, get in touch. I'm Christy. This was David. And we'll catch up with you soon.